Hooray!
All right, go. Take it away, John.
I tell you what a lot of messing this has been just to get going. How are you? Welcome to the Bishop Exchange. I'm John Bishop. I'm with Des Bishop. And we're also with Bradley, who doesn't want to be identified by using his surname, even though it's on the screen.
Bradley X.
Bradley.
So it's 5:30 a.m. here in New York.
I know, which is a staggering thing for you to do, but you were saying that you get up early to do this so that you can play golf.
Yeah, well, listen, I'm in a crew with these retired guys, a bunch of guys in their 70s.
They're the guys that I met. Well, they were at your wedding, weren't they? And they were sung when we played golf at the golf club.
Yeah, there's a few different crews that I got, but my weekday crews they're all retired guys in their 70s, and they play at the first tee. But I they play the first tee time of the day. I like playing with them. And you were saying, why are you getting up so early? But here's the thing. It's like I'm an early riser. I always wanted to do morning radio. And you know the way, like, I always thought I would get to a stage in my career where I'd be the morning radio guy. And the industry has changed, and that's not really an option anymore, is it? That's not really a good place to end up.
I don't know. I know a few people working in radio.
Yeah, but it's not exactly a growth industry.
No,
is what I'm saying.
I'll give you that.
You know, and it's not the same thing as like, oh yeah, you get a morning radio show. So people were always like, oh, I did morning radio for years. It killed me, but it would suit me down to the ground. You know, I'm up here. It's 5:30. I'm ready to go, bro. This is my time to shine.
Yeah, but when you're saying that, and then you said if we didn't do it at 5:30, we'd have to do it at 5 o'clock. That's
5 o'clock your time. I was giving you your time.
Oh, right, I see. I was going to say, let's slow round the golf. That's 12 freaking hours.
No, I meant like if we didn't do it now, it's 10:30 your time, then it would have to be, like 5 o'clock your time, which I feel like, I feel like, listen, this is a lot of logistics for the listener, but since they're invested now, yeah, I feel like if I say to you normally, what time do you want to record? You like in and around the sort of like late morning, early afternoon. Yeah. So I was just trying to keep it within your window.
This is good. And it's very much appreciated because then Bradley can try and make some magic out of this conversation.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you do morning, back in the day, you do morning radio, you had like a production team, of people that would like give you topics and help you with the phone calls. But we have Bradley, whose fucking microphone wasn't even working when we started. So I'm not feeling supported here.
Yeah, but also you'd have features. You know what I mean? You'd have like songs beginning with the letter T. Yeah. Hey, it's songs beginning with the letter T from the road.
We could do that.
Did you see the comments on YouTube asking us to get guests on?
No.
Someone commented on YouTube and was like, we should have guests.
Bradley, you're the guest.
I haven't done a podcast where you've got to get guests on. It's such a commitment. It's such a pain in the ass. Like, and when people are asking you to be on, you're trying to find a date to fit in. Yes. And then they're waiting for you to find a date to fit in. They're going, oh, can I change that date? And you know that you're pissing them off. And what I like about this is just what we've just said is like, you're fitting this in amongst what you're doing. This is basically, because we would phone each other anyway, this is basically us phoning each other and Bradley listening.
Yeah.
That's basically Bradley's tapped our phone. This is the conversation.
I'm the son.
Listen, if I could have had a Bradley for all my conversations in my life, like if I could have had a Bradley where at the end of every conversation, he took out all the bits that could ruin my career, my life would be so much better.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Everybody needs a Bradley. In fact, I think I've just discovered the new Christmas toy for 2025.
a little Bradley ad.
Yeah, because they're not going to come from China. They're not, the toys are getting tariffed out of everything on China. So I'm just going to get a little Bradley. you know.
Just a little, it's just one of those little sticky things with the wobbly heads, big Bradley head, and you stick them on your desk. And whenever you say anything that you shouldn't say, Bradley goes, "I wouldn't say that."
Yeah, you get no. You get what happens is you get a WhatsApp. You get a WhatsApp an hour later. What do you think about the Chinese conversation? What do you think? Do you think the Chinese accent thing was okay?
I'm not sure you should say that. I tell you. So how's your week been? How's life been? Both of you really. I don't know. Because we when we started this, me and Bradley were on tour and I was seeing him all the time. This is the only time I ever see him now. We're like a divorced couple who only talk now about you, about the kid.
Talk through our lawyer desk.
Just like we were on the road, and then all of a sudden, and it's really odd because I don't know with you, Des, how long you have when you have a break, but I haven't done a gig now since the last gig, which was in Amsterdam, which is 3 weeks ago. Brad, is it 4 weeks ago?
Maybe longer.
And you start forgetting. I think it's really odd, and it'd be interesting if anyone listens to this who is a performer of some sort. You start forgetting that's what you do because the job's so unusual. You forget that you are actually a comedian. You do walk on stage, and people listen to you. Fucking honest, I've been home for a month. Not one person's laughed or clapped at anything I've said or done, and that's the normality of it. But the thing to start thinking about, right? I've got to start thinking about me next tour. I just find that it's like another person's life.
That's the problem. That's a problem with wife and kids. Fucking tough crowd.
Tough crowd.
They don't give a fuck.
But do you? What's the
audience? The audience is laughing and clapping, and then at home, the audience is like, "Is he fucking trying to tell jokes again?"
I know, but also
fucking prick, fucking.
What's he
thinking he's
do?
funny again?
Why has he got a notepad? What's he doing? And also, there's that thing as well where like I've said to you, just a shit audience, and I say things that are definitely funny and no one laughs, and I'm like, you're a shit audience. I know you. I'm a professional. I know.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is.
That would work. That joke would work in Portsmouth. What am I doing here?
It takes an effort, though, not to laugh. So that's what's even worse.
Yeah,
it's like, you know that they're not laughing out of spite.
Stifling it in.
And that turns into poison.
I know.
That turns into poison.
Yeah, you're right, Des. You're right.
Yes.
They're actually
let them know.
I think what happens is they go into another room and laugh their heads off together.
Exactly. They got to let it out.
Don't let him see us.
Yeah, it's like we know he's funny, but because that was I used to have a joke about that in my Irish show. I wouldn't give him the satisfaction. Do you have that expression?
Yeah.
I wouldn't give him the
satisfaction.
Do you know what that was a joke about? And sometimes this joke could be perceived as arrogant, but it's not arrogant. I joked about it with other comedians before that have had the same experience. So, John, let me ask you a question first. Have you had people come up to you and say, "I don't know who you are"? Have you ever had that experience?
Yeah.
It's such a strange experience because it's like, okay, I mean, I don't need you to know who I am, but you've come up to me to tell me you don't know who I am. I don't know who you are. So this is a strange way to start a conversation.
Yeah. And the worst is like, I don't know who you are, but can I have a selfie? My friends say you're famous. Honest to God, it's so funny. It's like sometimes when I go to the match and you get out and there's people who'll come up and say, can I have a selfie as I'm walking into the ground, who know who I am. And then you see, like, Malaysian tourists or people who've come over to watch Liverpool for a weekend who think he must be an ex-player or something. They just ask for a photograph. And he asks you to sign the programme. And I'm like, you know what? I'll take that. I'll pretend I'm some ex-player.
Jamie Carragher, bro.
I'm Sammy Hippier. Yeah, or Jamie Carragher. Not someone who's as Patrick Berger, somebody that they haven't seen since he played for the club. Jersey Dudek. I'm Jersey Dudek. Vladimir.
So my joke.
I'm pulling up all of these. Igor Biscan. I'm Igor Biscan.
Why do I feel like your fucking wife right now? I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing at your joke.
You'll laugh about that later. You both go off and laugh when you look at
When I
pictures of me.
Google that.
When you Google Ego Biscan, you'll go, that was really funny.
He's an ego biscuit maniac. So anyway, the joke was, and again, I'm aware that this sounds like arrogant. We're not saying this like in an arrogant thing. It's just a weird phenomenon. So my joke was always somebody come up and say, "Hey, I don't know who you are," right? Then they go back to their friends and they'd be like, "Did you hear what I said to Des Bishop? I told him I didn't know. I told him I didn't know who he was." And then they'd be like, "But you do know who he was." And they go, "I wouldn't give him the satisfaction." You know, like, it was just a joke about that expression, but it is a funny expression. You know, I wouldn't give him the satisfaction. You know, it's just you have to bottle it up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also an assumption that you'd be satisfied
exactly.
by the fact that they would know who you are. That you would be pleased for them to come over and you'd go.
That's my other joke. I used to do it in the same section about like when people criticize you, they say, he's not as funny as he thinks he is, right? You see that a lot online. He's not as funny as he thinks he is. And I always want to say back to them, how funny do you think I am? Because I'm actually pretty critical of myself.
I know. But it's also, that's what I mean. It's that thing where you go, well, you must think you're funny. And I remember Comic Mick Ferry saying to me once, just when I started, and he was saying, he was sort of saying, like, what made you get into it? And I was saying, I don't know. And he said, don't say that. He said, because anyone who walks on a stage and says jokes must think they're funny. You can't say, I don't know, I didn't know it was funny. You thought you were funny. You wouldn't get on. You wouldn't enter the singing contest without thinking you could sing. You think you're funny, but you don't know how funny you are. And the truth is, as a comic, the audience tell you how funny you are. You can't decide how funny you are. They let you know. It becomes obvious, and that's why it's such a good art form, I think.
I've noticed that lately, because there's always, listen, in the comments, there's always somebody that says, this isn't funny, or when does it get funny, or when's the joke? And I noticed these days that a lot more people like to respond to that person saying, pay attention to the laughter, it'll give you a clue, right? So what I do now, not always, but a lot of the time, is because there's always these, they call them rage bait comments now. So people like to make a comment that deliberately like annoys people. And because the rage bait comment gets loads of engagement, I make sure that the rage bait comment goes to the top. So the most annoying comment, I will pin it to make sure that it's the first thing that people see.
That's funny.
All right. Right. So right. Okay. Why'd you pin it so that people engage with it?
But also, so they get, I know that in the way it's dumb because I'm giving them the satisfaction.
Yeah. I wouldn't give them the satisfaction.
But I just think it's kind of funny because they just think they're like throwing a little dig at you. And then, of course, they get fucking bombarded then with comments of like, you're an asshole. Listen, I'm anti-troll. I hate the trolls. But the truth is that the trolls won, you know? Outrage runs the internet. And all these guys like Charlie Kirk, I don't know what TikTok algorithm you're on, but, you know, Charlie Kirk is one of these like right-wing American dudes that debates students. Have you ever seen those videos pop up?
When he like sits across the table with them.
Yeah, he debates students, and he was in Cambridge actually. So there was quite a few British ones lately. But basically, when I see those videos, and it's like, you know, the debates are stupid, and it's like I didn't do a lot of debating, but there is actually like rules to debating.
Yeah.
But none of them follow any of the rules.
No.
It's not a real debate. Nobody gets to the bottom of anything. Everybody's just grandstanding. But basically, when I see how popular those videos are, I go, well, the trolls won the internet. It was basically like back in the day, people arguing in the comments. People just turned that into a career, you know? And that's what it is. So if you can't beat them, join them.
Everyone's turning all that into a career. There's a way, if you're prepared to put the time in, there's a way of just gold and building up. And next thing you know, you've got your own YouTube channel of people listening to you to say things that will wind them up so that they can tell you you've wound up. You think,
get wound up.
Like, honest to God, I barely watch the news now. I try and watch it once every couple of days just to be on top of stuff, because it's so annoying and everything's so negative. I don't come away from it enjoying it. So the last thing I'm going to do is go looking for something that will annoy me.
Yeah,
I find that's a mad thing about human nature.
TikTok annoys. I actually try to avoid TikTok these days. I guess it's my own fault. My algorithm is just constantly videos that annoy me. You know, like.
Why don't you invest a little bit of time looking at ponies or something, or butterflies? Just do that instead of going, I want right-wing dickheads. Yeah, give me another right-wing dickhead. Give me another one.
You got to get the fucking butterflies to show up. Right. So then once the butterflies show up, I could watch them, but I'm not getting any fucking butterflies. I need a butterfly to show up the color of like an American or a British flag, being like, keep these fucking moths out. Keep these moths out of my fucking airspace. Ever since these moths came in, crime is up.
Yeah, exactly.
Then it might pop up on my algorithm. But anyway, we don't have to get into that.
So anyway, I said, how's the week been? Because it's been since the last one that we did was obviously under very unusual circumstances. It just seems like, to me, because the circumstances of the last one, because there was so much happening. This last week seems like it's been a month. It seems so much has happened in this last week, and without anything happening, if you know what I mean. I'm like, what have I done this week? Normally, because the thing is, and this is another thing about being on the road, we would have this, and I'd probably do 5 gigs in between, 5 shows, been to 5 different towns, 5 different cities. You'd be the same. But because I'm at home and I've done nothing, it just feels like ages has happened in between. If you ask me what I've done this last week, I cannot think of anything. The football's finished. Do you know what I mean? There's none to watch.
Couldn't give a fuck that PSG won the Champions League. Couldn't give a fuck.
See it.
Couldn't give a shit.
See it. Didn't even see it, because I had some friends here who came and stayed there with the two sons who are brilliant. And the good thing about it is Sonny, the oldest kid, is a Doctor Who fanatic.
Oh.
And I spent a year in Doctor Who, which makes Sonny think I know as much about Doctor Who as he knows about Doctor Who. So he asks me questions about it, and I have to try and pretend I know the answers, because I don't want to shatter his illusion that I haven't got I was just reading the lines that someone else wrote. So he's like sort of asking me questions about the Cybermen. You know, and what's happening with the Cybermen? Have I seen the new Doctor Who? What's going on with that? And also, there's going to be another Doctor Who coming out, which is going to be played by Billy Piper. So there's going to be a new Doctor Who played by Billy Piper. Billy Piper was a companion of another Doctor. So that's never happened in the Doctor Who universe, of a companion becoming the Doctor. And everyone's wondering. And he's asking me all these questions. And I've got to say to this 10-year-old kid, I've not got a clue how the science is supposed to work in this fictional world. And he honestly...
But does he know it's a fictional world? Are you like fucking Santa? No. Are you like Santa Claus there trying to fucking... Like, that's what I was thinking. It sounds like you can't let this kid know that Doctor Who's fake.
No, I want to. He knows, obviously, it's fake, because he's he's had videos of Jodie when she was the Doctor, sending messages to him and all that. So he knows Doctor Who's not real. But it's just that Doctor Who, like a lot of science fiction, is based on a, if you like, science on steroids. So there's a scientific basis for a lot of the things that go on, and obviously it's an exaggeration. So he was asking me about the science of how the regeneration of a Doctor can come into the body of an existing human being, because normally the Doctor's regeneration is a new creature, a new entity. And I'm like, because, you know, human beings have one heart and the Doctor has 2 hearts, so how can they? And I'm like, I don't know, Sonny.
You're like, I didn't fucking finish secondary school.
Sonny, I'm only asking you what you want on your pizza. Can we just manage that? It's so bright.
That's great. That's a smart kid right there.
Oh,
man.
great kid. Really good fun to have around. So,
I was in a casino. I was doing gigs in Mohegan Sun Casino with my brother Eden.
Sorry, say that name again.
Mohegan Sun. You know, in America, the Indian reservations were allowed to have casinos. It was like some sort of bit of guilt of the American government. So, you know, because they're sort of autonomous. The Indian reservations are autonomous. They're sort of self-governing to a degree.
I'm trying to remember a program. I can't remember what it was, where there was a chase and they went to an Indian reservation and the police cars had to stop. Would that really happen?
The police cars having to stop. I don't know. You're like a fucking 10-year-old child asking me too many questions about shit I don't understand. No, but but they do have, like, so there's a tribal police force on the Mohegan Sun reservation. So
Where
anyway,
is it?
It's in Connecticut, northern Connecticut. So, you know, it's far enough away from the city, but it's amazing. It's like you're in the middle of nowhere. Suddenly there's these two towers. Do you remember Superman 2, when he goes back to like where he's from? And there's like these.
Now you're a 10-year-old kid. Look here.
But you remember that with the palatial like glass? It looks like that. Like it's mad, like out of nowhere.
God, what was the planet he was from?
Well, Jor-El was his father. Oh God, this
Google
is like
the planet.
But don't tell me yet, Brad. I want to. Oh God,
it's because it's Krypton.
Krypton, is that the planet?
No, Kryptonite's what gets him. I thought Krypton was from the planet.
But yeah, it's saying Krypton is the planet.
Yeah, you're right, John.
Yeah,
you got it.
Sonny would be so proud of me.
Are you the son of Jor-El? Yeah. Anyway. None of the modern Superman stuff was any good, in my opinion. But then I think I just might have a connection to the original OG, Christopher Reeve.
Oh, I saw his documentary the other day. Have you seen his documentary?
No.
It's interesting. It really is interesting, because obviously he's plotted the journey of his. You know, his paralysis and what happened to him. It's really brave and enlightening. It's a good watch, to be fair. Good watch.
Yeah, I saw an interview with him on David Letterman, and I was like, it's surprising because you just see him as Superman most of your life, and then when you see him talking, like, he's quite a serious actor. He takes he takes it quite seriously.
What it looks at is his career up to that point, and then the decision to be Superman, and you know, people saying to him, you're not going to be taken seriously as an actor, and then what happened afterwards, the fact that he couldn't really do a lot of serious roles because everyone just kept on expecting him to take his clothes off.
Yeah, exactly.
Flying. You can't do that in the middle of Hamlet. So he was, and then obviously the accidents, and then his positivity after the accidents, and just his approach. It was just an interesting watch. Anyway,
actually, speaking of documentaries, that was the big documentary I watched this week. First, I have a question. Was Pee Wee Herman big in the UK?
No.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I thought that because I was like, I wonder, will John? Because I was having very...
I know who he is, because I was going backwards and forwards to the States when it all sort of came out and he was known.
Because for me, it was like an integral part of my early adolescence, like Pee-wee's Playhouse and Pee-wee's Big Adventure. But if you're not connected to it, then it's... And which means if you didn't see it, then in Ireland, then... You know, it's funny. I feel so Irish sometimes, but there are things from the 80s that mean so much to me that mean nothing to Irish people. And that's where I have like a black hole of Irish identity, the 80s.
I know, but I saw a little clip the other day, and I thought, God, I'd like to go back and watch some of them. Welcome Back, Kotter.
Welcome back. Welcome yeah, John Travolta was in that.
Yeah. It was a series.
It was a school.
Kotter was a teacher who went back to teach in a school in New York from the area that he was from. So he was like an inspirational teacher, but all of these kids from dysfunctional backgrounds. And like, but it was just so heartwarming, and it was funny.
Like all those sitcoms from the 70s and 80s, it was all like more morality plays.
Yeah. You can make it. Hey, you got it. We got you. I got you, buddy.
All right, Brad. Brad, here we go. This is a test. No help from John. Here we go, Brad. Do you have any idea what I'm singing? Making your way in the world today takes everything you got.
I don't know it.
Taken away from all your worries sure could help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Come on, Bradley, sing it with me now. Come on. Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. Dun, 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 dun. And you're always glad you came. Dun, dun, dun. You want to go where people know troubles are all the same. Come on, Brad. You want to go where everyone knows your name.
I have to look that one up.
And there's a meaning to why I'm singing it now, because R.I.P. Rest in peace. George Wendt died in 2025. The guy that played Norm.
Yeah.
Performed at the first ever, or one of the first ever Kilkenny Cat Laughs comedy festivals.
Really?
Yeah. It's Cheers.
What is it? It's
Cheers. Cheers,
okay.
Brad.
Okay.
I remember.
Trust me, our listeners were singing along. Just so you know.
I remember when I was going over to America coaching football and being up in Boston. Coaching in Boston and finding the Cheers bar.
Yeah, but it's only the outside.
It's the outside, but like you're there. I mean, you can go in, can't you? You can go into what there's a bar, isn't there? But seeing the sign, just being in that area of Boston. Boston's a fantastic city.
A lot of careers made from Cheers, Bradley. Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
Ted Danson.
Ted Danson, I think, was on his way anyway, wasn't he? Because he was
a lot.
But yeah,
I think Cheers was before 3 Men and a Baby.
Here you go. Yeah, it was definitely. Here you go, Brad. Google how many episodes of Cheers there were.
Yeah, Shelley Long.
Yeah. Let's have a guess. You have a guess. How many?
Me?
Yeah.
162.
All right. I will say 237.
275.
Wow, John. Wow. That's the way telly used to be. Not fucking two seasons of The Office, 6 episodes each.
Yeah, imagine that. Imagine
keeping that going.
Someone coming in and going, listen, this is a great idea. We're going to give you 250 off the week. What? It's literally, and you're getting paid per ep and repeat fees. Wow.
Kirstie Alley.
Yeah.
She's in Cheers?
Yeah.
See, this is what I'm talking about, Brad. Welcome to the beginning.
Yeah, welcome.
Isn't Kirstie Alley a Republican? No, she's a Scientologist, I think.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah, a lot. So is John Travolta.
Well, their base actually in the UK isn't far from here.
Really?
Near Guildford, the Scientology base. In fact, we went looking at a house that was next to the land of the Scientologist.
You're giving me Scientology vibes, John. It's all coming together now. No wonder he's been so successful.
The Illuminati.
But I also...
Doctor Who is a Scientologist. Everybody knows that. Or as you say, Doctor Ooh. 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 Doctor Ooh.
If someone was to say to you, what do Scientologists believe, what would you say?
I mean, I hear different things that there's some alien shit and all that, but I don't really know.
That's what I mean. I don't think people really know. It's all based on the ideas of Ron Hubbard, wasn't it?
L. Ron Hubbard, yeah.
Yeah. L. Ron Hubbard came up with this theory of super beings being the things that started the earth, and there's certain super beings amongst us, and you've just got to tap in to that super being element. And this is why Tom Cruise apparently has such belief in himself, because of his the Scientology thing, and which is the same as just about everyone who does those gym things on Instagram.
Yeah, or Tony Robbins or any of this shit.
You can be this. You can be this. It's just that Scientologists believe that there's lizards involved. If you take the lizard out, it's the same as everything else.
A lot of people surprise you there. Either Scientology or they're adjacent to Scientology. Beck, did you know that? Beck, the singer.
He's a Scientologist?
I'm a loser, baby. Yeah, well, his dad was a big Scientologist, and I don't know what his position is on Scientology, but he kind of grew up in that world. You know, Elizabeth Moss is a Scientologist. You know that, right?
That's what I mean.
Well, apparently they say she left, I think, the Emmys or something because they were honouring Leah Remini's Scientology documentary, and she couldn't be in the same room while that was happening.
Wow.
That's what the streets say. I don't know how true it is.
By the way, the TikTok knows I love some negativity towards Scientology, so I do get a lot of the Scientology videos.
You get them?
Yeah, they show up on my stuff.
What are they saying?
Just like who's a Scientologist, and there's these people that make videos outside the Scientology headquarters and kind of try to annoy them, and then these guys with suits, it's just
it's weird.
It's just one of these weird things that they can still.
But it's like I look at it and think, well, they can't all be nuts. Like Tom Cruise is not nuts.
I know some people. I know somebody that married into like a high level Scientology family, and they never really became a Scientologist. But one day we were sitting in a cafe, and we were just talking about it. And she was actually separated, but she's not like super negative on Scientology or anything. But she's not like a Scientologist. But she's now not. She's in the process of not being married to the guy. And so we're talking, and she was like, yeah, but a lot of this stuff online, like they tell me just not to look at it because it's all bullshit. And I was like, yeah, that's what cults do. She actually was like, oh shit, yeah, you're right. It's like, yeah, of course they told you not to fucking look at it. Like that's what they do. It's hiding in plain sight,
Yeah. Right, maybe you could say that about a lot of things these days.
Yeah, bro. Yeah,
definitely. Brad, you never told us what you did this week. Did you go to a casino? Oh, hang on, we never got your casino story.
I don't have a casino story. All I was doing
you just saying you went to a casino.
No, I was working. I was doing shows. I was actually working.
All right.
And I didn't gamble. The novelty is completely worn off. I'm not a gambler. Aiden didn't gamble. We had a good time, but I don't have any. No, I met a guy from Liverpool. That was about it.
Oh, good.
He didn't know who you were.
Yeah, well, fuck him. He's in a cult then. So Aiden was gigging as well.
Yeah, Aiden's back gigging now.
Good. Good to see him back on the saddle.
He's back on the saddle.
What'd you do this week, Brad?
I don't think I've done anything either. But it is Pride Month. Pride Month has begun.
June is Pride Month.
They got the whole month.
We got the whole month.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great thing. I think it's funny. When I did a documentary in Ireland, and I went to see the people who organised the Pride March in Belfast, because Belfast apparently has got the biggest Pride March, bigger than Dublin, and it was so funny. And I did this in stand-up, and it only really works in Belfast if you know the history of Belfast and the divisions and so on, because he said the Pride March started in the Troubles. So when all the Troubles were going on, it was very sectarian. Like half a dozen of them got together and said, we're going to have a march. We're going to say we're having a Pride March. So they would turn up, and they would be outnumbered by all of the Ian Paisley
Unionists, loyalists, Orangemen.
So sort of very religious
fundamentalists.
Who would be going like, you're all going to burn in hell, you're all sodomites, you're all going to, Jesus is going to take retribution on you. And they would be outnumbered, but they would still do the march. And the march might only be 300 yards, but they would do it, and they go right past City Hall in Belfast. And he said it's built up, and then, them half a dozen became 30 people, became 100 people, and now there's 60,000 do this march. So I said to them when we were at this meeting with them, I said, well, I bet you they don't come now. I bet the religious fundamentalists don't come and shout at you now. They went, oh, they do. They said, we keep a space open for them so that they can stand there with their placards and do their shouting. He said, but we walk past them now with pride. That's what the Pride March is about.
Nice.
And I said, that is brilliant. I said, but you know what you should do? I said, there's they love a parade. They love it. They're big. Particularly the Orange Men. They love it. And there's a symbol where they do that, where they play the flute. Remember Paul Gascoigne got done for doing it when he played for Rangers. I said, you need to walk past them like that and then go.
And if you pay,
now, if you're listening to this, I'm not going to explain what I just did, but just imagine. And I did it. I remember meeting them, and then I did it in Belfast that night. And it's such a great bit of material that lands perfectly there, but you can't.
There.
Yeah.
Why can't you do that anyway? That's fine. Fuck them.
No. What I mean is, you got to explain a little bit more.
Yeah,
you got to explain a little bit more. So about the division and so on. But it's so. What's the word that I'm after? So inspiring to hear that story. And
well, especially because it's a double meaning with the marching there. It's subversive. It's subversive in more than just we're going to express our sexuality positively. It's also like we're going to take your thing, which is marching, and we're going to fucking march right in front of you.
That thing about doing what you do, but we're doing it for us in our way. I think it's brilliant. Taking it back.
Well, if you pay attention to Northern Irish politics, there's a few of those unionists that are pretending to be angry, but they're very happy to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
As it eventually comes out.
I have no idea what he's talking about. Do you, bro?
Bradley knows.
He's hinting at the closet cases.
I'm hitting at the closeted nature of some of these angry homophobes.
Oh yeah,
because there's been a couple of famous ones that came out. A couple of them got caught. You really love what you hate. You know,
I know. So listen, I think it's great that there's this, I suppose, announcement of Pride Month, and that's just in the UK. Is that an international thing?
No, it's the same. It's Pride Month in the US too.
What happened to all the gays get together? There was a king and queen gay go, right, this is it. Yeah. It's this month. We want June. It's ours.
I don't know how you got June. You guys were so late to taking a month. I don't know how June was still available.
I
know. Yeah. Well,
America, February's Black History Month, right?
Yeah.
And then, actually, I don't know what some of the other months are, but I guess you know what it was? It used to be days, but then the gays were like, we're going to need more than a day.
I know. It's going to take us that long to get ready. I'm not getting ready for a day. Come on.
That's funny.
Yeah, brilliant.
Brilliant. So,
good. Have you got plans then, Brady? Sorry, I was going to ask, are you doing anything?
No, I don't have plans. I would like to go to like a proper, like a big, like
a New York Pride Parade.
Yeah.
But I feel like this year in America, it's going to be more politically charged because these fucking born again Christians are just like, it's nonstop with the negativity towards people's sexuality. So,
because a lot of the shops and stuff are like stepping back on like Pride.
Yeah, because for a long time it was the opposite. For a long time it was like embrace the rainbow. You almost had to, and then there's been a real pushback on that. Bud Light got huge pushback because they picked a trans model.
Isn't Target's like pulled back on it, is it?
Well, Target pulled back on the DEI. So Target pulled back on the DEI. So now loads of people are boycotting Target, and it's an identity politics mess over here in the United States, I can tell you. But we'll see. I was curious what would happen with Pride this year because, there's definitely a step back in the acceptance of sexuality here in the United States. The identity politics is front and center. So we shall see.
Yeah. When is it,
I don't know. I do know that it's fucking mayhem that day. One of the times I was at the Cellar and an impromptu just like street party happened on McDougal Street. McDougal Street wasn't closed off, but just for some reason, oh, you know what happened? Somebody started playing loud music from one of the stoops, the stoops or the steps outside, from like one of the stoops near the cellar. And like suddenly like 1,000 people were just
like Fame.
Dance. Yeah. Funnily enough, heavily gay tinged Fame, but it couldn't be outright. That's funny. I'd love to go back. There must be a documentary about like all the gay signaling that was going on when you couldn't be outwardly gay.
Do you know what Pilates is?
What?
Pilates.
Pilates?
I think it's called. Is that what it's called?
Pilates?
Pilates. No, there's like a...
Pilates is for straight women.
When being gay was legal, there was a language amongst gay people called Pilates, but I don't know if it was in America or just in the UK.
Yeah. I remember talking to Ian McKellen about it.
Oh,
Ian still remembers some of it. Yeah, so it was a language, wasn't it? That like a secret language that gay men would exchange information with each other.
Yeah.
Oh God, he told me some of the words for police and stuff like that, just so that they would be able in public to sort of be in a coffee shop and say stuff to each other and go like, "Do you want to meet or do you want to?" It was a fascinating thing that it even existed.
I think Friends of Dorothy might come from Pilates. But
I'm
not
not really?
Sure. Yeah, I think so.
Friends of Dorothy. What do you mean? What's that?
He's telling me I'm a fucking granddad and he doesn't know Friends of Dorothy.
Friends of Dorothy, so like, is like a euphemism for a gay person. And it would mean is he gay? Yeah.
Right. Okay.
But all very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
It's fascinating that again in American culture there's it's going backwards.
I think it is. I really do think it is.
This thing that I never understand people having negative views of someone else's sexuality. I just find it really an odd thing to be bothered about. It's just why are you bothered? It's just there's nothing really that clear about it. It's a really like it's a concocted thing to think is not Christian or whatever. It's not. Listen, I'm not just going to put it on Christianity. Most very religious people have a problem with homosexuality. So it's not just Christians. The Muslims aren't too fond of it either, and other religions. Yes. So we're not just going to put it on the Christians. But in the States, the movement is being pushed very hard by this kind of like rising Christian nationalism. Yeah,
but there's also like the Andrew Tate like alpha male, ultra masculine type vibe that I think comes into it as well.
That's your old back to the wall lads and all that stuff. It's like, what's the problem? I'd say, oh God, brilliant. His name's gone up. Oh, Steve Hughes. Remember Steve Hughes?
It's so funny. I just was about to bring up that bit.
Oh, you do it then, because
I'm not doing it. It's fucking come on, man.
Say what it is. It's just so funny.
It was something along the lines of, people say, oh, like gay men are weak and they're pussies. He's like, they fuck other men.
Like big men.
Big men.
Yeah. No waxed up ladies who's had a bath. Fellas in toilets. Yeah. How can you tell me they're not strong?
That's
something
really fun. But Steve Hughes is this Australian comic and
ex-heavy metal band.
Yeah.
He was a metaler. But he's a straight dude.
Yeah, heavy metal sort of guy doing this stuff, and he was so funny, really hilarious. Yeah.
So anyway, that's that. Yeah, so I'm curious to see. I mean, I think Pride in the States is going to kind of get back to its original vibe. I think it's going to be, it's going to be part celebration and part defiance. Yeah, that's the way. Not New York, but it is getting that way. It's fucked up anyway.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens moving forward, man. It's fucking dark. This kind of, what it is? It's like they've really been allowed to put it back to sort of if kids are told about homosexuality, then like that's sexualizing them.
We had that close.
Even though telling them about heterosexuality is not sexualizing them. Because like it's not like you're telling kids like, hey, you guys can fuck. You're telling kids that like people love each other, right? So when you say mommy and daddy love each other, that's okay. But when you say, the two people down the road's parents love each other and they're the same sex, that's sexualizing them. That's so they basically turn it into like.
That's what we had. It was Clause 28, wasn't it, Brad?
Yeah, Section 28.
Section 28, and which was to, again, what's happening in the States now, to remove literature from schools, to remove the debate, to remove the discussion, and that was all coming from Thatcher's governments. And
really,
yeah. That was a genuine thing. So everyone was fighting against Clause 28, and that's where Stonewall and people like that were campaigning against Section 28, and that's where Ian McKellen was at the front of Stonewall. He was the front campaigning, and that's when he got his knighthood. He got his knighthood for that, and he didn't want to generally accept it, but he said he accepted it because it was good for the charity. It meant that he could get in rooms easier that he couldn't have gotten in the past and fight the case against Section 28. So it's we as a nation have been through it, and the crazy thing is, it's like so stupid because society will eventually come round again. You can't stop. You can't stop nature. This is nature. You can't just put it in a box and say we don't like that side of it and use that all go away, because they're not going to go away.
Unless all of humanity is destroyed by the current path we're on, which I think is an option. I'm not saying. Sometimes I get worried that this is the beginning of the end, but anyway, we won't get into that.
Yeah, but
Happy Pride!
Happy Pride! As the nuclear bomb goes off, there'll be a rainbow following it.
A gay mushroom cloud. A rainbow mushroom cloud.
What a way of ending it. Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Anyway, there we go. There you go.
All right. So listen, enjoy your week. I'm
going to play golf with old, straight men. Right now.
Right now.
Proper men.
I'm putting on my khaki shorts and my fucking, I'm going to put them up high on my waist with my belt and knee-high socks, and I'm going to be like going out. And they're actually, a lot of these guys do like Trump. We don't talk about politics, yeah.
Mate, it surprises any of us over there that there's anyone over there. It's like, it's surely it's starting to come out that this is...
Nope. They're all together now, man. There's an international movement of this stuff.
This cabal of these people who have these opinions, but and it's the them and us bit.
Yes,
a sort of great.
We're cocks now, John. We're cocks, bro. We're like we are cocks.
Cocks? What's a cock?
Well, in real terms, a cock is like a man. Well, I think mostly men that like to watch their wife get fucked by somebody else. That's where the term comes from. But now it's like a term that all these. Sorry, John, was that too much?
Yeah, I don't know how I'm one of them.
I'm telling you where the term comes from.
Right.
But now these kind of the alpha guys and all these, the angry guys on the internet, like the minute you express anything that's remotely like inclusive, quote unquote liberal, left wing, they're like, oh, he's a cuck. Like I have my bit about being a straight white guy, which actually, if you pay attention, is actually quite tongue in cheek. It's kind of critical of both sides of the whole privilege debate, if you pay attention to the bit. But if you just get triggered by words like privilege, I get a lot of guys calling me a cuck in there. So basically this conversation is very cuck by the standards of the angry man internet, the manosphere.
So someone's shagging my wife?
No, because it's basically that like you're like a weak man that like.
Oh, what your other thing? So cuck comes from cuckooled. The word cuckooled.
Yeah, it's cuckold. Right. Yeah, no, sorry, I should have said that part first, but I actually forgot. I forgot.
Okay. So that's what they're saying. So you're a weak man because you're watching the real men get on with stuff and not. And
you're giving into like feminism, the gay rights movement, all this stuff.
Mate,
we've been cucking the shit out of it on this episode.
It's got to. There's going to have to be a 10. There has to be a 10. And
that's what they've been saying for 30 years.
Yeah.
They're like, finally, we got the
It's our go. It's our go. Let's do it before they come in with them tambourines again.
All right, let's go.
Listen, enjoy your golf.
All right, we'll see you guys. We'll see you next week.
Yeah,
See you in the Spotify comments.
Yeah. Do all the things that we were supposed to ask you to do, which is, what is it? Like, subscribe, comments, all of that. And listen, we'll just keep bouncing on with these words of magic and wisdom.
Yeah. I think we should have called this pod Inappropriate Inclusivity. Inclusivity and toxic masculinity meet in a wonderful podcast called The Bishop Exchange.
Yeah. What do you think?
But
about
I think that's
that?
good. See, just the last thing I'll say, because I told you I do the pineapple on pizza bit, but I've started to frame that now. So for those that don't remember, pineapple pizza bit is a metaphor for homophobia, right? And people not accepting that you like pineapple on your pizza, right? But now how I frame it is that these young men are being influenced by guys like Andrew Tate. So they need a voice that they think they can trust, which is because I present like an asshole. I'm not an asshole, but I present like one. I got like toxic masculine energy, even though I'm evolved. So I sneak it in where they think they're listening to one of their own, and before they know it, they've got fucking good messaging. So we're covert, we're spies. We're inclusivity spies because we present as old white dudes.
Yeah.
Which is what we are. But we also are spies. You don't get it?
Yeah, I get it.
You
Thank
get it,
you.
right?
Thank you for your service.
We're allies.
Yeah,
and it's not even good for business anymore. 5 years ago, it was good to be an ally. Now we're fucking ourselves. We're losing fans.
Yeah.
It's not even cool to be an ally.
Yeah, it's not even cool anymore. No, it doesn't pay anymore. No one's on your side. I don't know who I'm an ally of. I don't know whose side I'm on now.
Anyway, this is a great Pride episode.
All right.
Let's go.
Take care, guys. Ta-ra.